Shalom, shalom, shalom. This your brother Itazawan from Camp Yashawan, right? Your brother and aspiring prophet. I'm here speaking to the Hebrew Israelites, the repentant Hebrew Israelites and Gentiles of the world, right? Today we're going to be getting into relationships and how they're supposed to be conducted according to the laws, right? So look, nowadays it's like levels to these relationships that never existed, right? Back in biblical times, these are not African customs. These are not things that they're not even smart ways of thinking about relationships, right? Nowadays you meet a dude, right? You like a dude, you smash a dude, he becomes your boyfriend, and then later on in life he becomes your husband, maybe, right? And that's not how things were conducted back in the days, right? So we're gonna be getting into, how we're supposed to conduct ourselves, how we're supposed to think about one another in a relationship, and how we make these relationships thrive, and how we make a man and a woman appreciate each other, right? So let's start at Genesis chapter 2, right? Genesis chapter 2, verse 23 through 24. And it reads, "And Adam said, This is now bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman because she was taken out of man. Therefore shall a man leave his father and his mother and shall cleave unto his wife, and they shall be one flesh." Right? So when you get into a relationship with a woman, y'all become one flesh, just like the body of Christ, right? Just how every person is a different, brings some type of different spectrum, is a different member of the body of Christ, the church, right? Because the church is not a building, it's the people in the building is the church, right? The Most High doesn't dwell in temples of hands. So it's the same thing. It's the same kind of poetry and metaphoricism, right? I just made that word up. But it's the same thing when it comes to relationships, right? When you get with a woman or a man, y'all become one flesh. You can't separate from your flesh, right? You may be able to cut your hair off, but it's gonna grow back, right? And you're one body, right? Let me read that again. And Adam said, This is now bone of my bones. She is connected to me, right? And flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman because she was taken out of man. And for those of y'all who don't know, right, husband and wife literally just means man and woman, especially if you're going from biblical terms. And when you look into the Masoretic, into the Hebrew, etc., that word for husband is just man, and that word for wife is just woman. You're just his woman and he's your man, period. It's not like some type of big this thing that y'all make it, like this illusion of now he's something greater than what he was before he put this ring on my finger, right? There's no such thing as that. That's an illusion, right? So let's get Ephesians 5 and 28. Let's go to Ephesians chapter 5, verse 28. And it reads, "So ought men to love their wives as their own bodies. He that loveth his wife loveth himself. For no man ever yet hated his own flesh, but nourisheth and cherisheth it, even as the Lord the church." Right? "For we are members of his body," what I was just going into, "of his flesh and of his bones. For this cause shall a man leave his father and mother, and shall be joined unto his wife, and they two shall be one flesh." Right? So like I was saying, man, y'all are one flesh. When you have sex, you are literally one flesh, right? It don't take rocket science to know what I'm talking about, right? A man enters a woman, y'all bodies are literally connected. That is supposed to be an unbreakable bond. Ups, downs, turns, stop signs, green lights, whatever y'all go through, there's never supposed to be a severing of that. That's sacred, right? A man entered you, and you let a man enter you, right? So that's a bond that's never supposed to be broken. You're not supposed to just give that out to anybody just because it feels good, right? That's sacred. That's soul. That's your soul. You're exchanging energy, right? You're exchanging a covenant between you and the Most High God, right? This is all spiritual. Let's go to Genesis. Matter of fact, 28. Let's keep reading. Actually, no, we done with that. Let's go to Genesis chapter 24, verse 67. All right, so this is just one example of when a man and a woman have sex, when y'all come together, right? Y'all are married. Like, that's supposed to be, there is no such thing as, oh, we just smash and pass. That ain't my husband though. I don't owe him nothing. Like, women nowadays, y'all got the mindset of, I'm not gonna do anything that a wife should do until after a man puts this metal circle with a rock on it on my finger, right? That's so caveman mentality. Like, that's not, like, I swear I'm not trying to be disrespectful to anybody who believes in these types of customs, and there's nothing wrong with getting a ring. There's nothing wrong with getting your woman a ring, but this is not required, right? This man is the same man he was before he put that ring on your finger, right? Who told you that you had to go to the government to sign a dotted line and put a ring on somebody's finger for you to be one with them? Who told you you had to do that? That sounds like not smart to me. It sounds redundant. But when you have sex with somebody and you make a covenant to be theirs, right, between them and the Most High, like that is marriage, right? Anything outside of that, if you're just smashing, right, that's if you're creating unlawful sexually unlawful acts, right, which is like bestiality, sex with no covenant, right? You just going around smashing, adultery, right? These are things that are unlawful sex acts, which are fornication. Or adultery is a woman having sex with anybody that's not her man, a man having sex with another man's woman, right? A man or a woman leaving each other, putting each other away, and then going to have sex with somebody else, right? These are examples of adultery. So let me get this. And Isaac brought her into his mother Sarah's tent and took Rebekah, and she became his wife, and he loved her. And Isaac was comforted after his mother's death, right? So they've already conducted a covenant with each other. They already have in mind, I'm going to be yours, you're going to be mine forever. This was known. You didn't have to really speak it. When everybody knew, once I give my body to somebody, we belong to each other. There's no ifs, ands, buts about it. You're going to be mine, I'm going to be yours, right? And we're going to thrive, and we're going to grow, and we're going to be fruitful and multiply, right? No matter what we're going through. That was already understood. It really didn't have to be explained. But nowadays, you don't have parents teaching their children that. You don't have parents raising their kids up to know that, right? It's all have fun while you're young. Oh, it's plenty of fish in the sea. And then, your kids get heartbroken, and they get mentally destroyed, and they grow up thinking that they've been doing everything correctly the whole time, and wondering why they can't keep a man, or why they can't satisfy a woman, right? Women, your body is not some type of toy that you could just throw around. You don't even own your body. Our bodies are bought with a price. The Most High owns these bodies. We're renting them. We're spirits inside of these bodies, right? Y'all throw y'all bodies around like it's some type of game, like it's some type of toy, right? And it's not. Let's get Genesis 29 and 20. Genesis chapter 29, verse 20. Right? So back then, if a man wanted to get a woman, it wasn't just as easy as 1, 2, 3. Oh, how you doing, shawty? Da 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 da. Switch you some game. Let me get your number, right? Let me know where you stay at, right? I'll send my dove to come to your house with letters. Like, it wasn't like that, right? You had to go through stuff to get a woman, right? You either had, if she was a virgin, you had to pay the dowry of a virgin. There was no ifs, ands, and buts about it. You had to go meet the father. You had to speak to him. Y'all families had to get to know each other, bro, because you want to know what you're getting into. Once your seed line mixes with somebody else's seed line, it's not just you. It's not just y'all. Y'all families come together. These are two different families that come together, right, to make one big family. This is a bond. It was never supposed to be separated, and it was never supposed to be like how it is today. If she was a virgin, you pay that dowry, or you have to do something for the father, right? If he liked you, he could just give his daughter to you, but 9 times out of 10 it probably wouldn't happen, right? Or you could work for this man. You could work for him, or like I said, do something for him, and after that, he would give you his daughter, right? If he liked you. If he didn't, he could just, nah, bro, you got to get the hell up out of here. And it's supposed to be like that, right? Now let's get into it. We're going to get into Jacob and how he got his 2 wives, right? So this is Genesis 29 and verse 20. And it says, and Jacob served 7 years for Rachel, and they seemed unto him but a few days for the love he had to her. So this is Jacob, right? Jacob is the forefather of the Hebrew Israelites. If you are a Hebrew Israelite, you come from this man's loins. So he loved Rachel, right? He loved her so bad, so much, that he told Laban, which was her father, that he would work for them 7 years. 7 years for this woman. A lot of men couldn't wait 7 days to get in a woman's pants. That's how mentally broken down and unstable our generation is today. This man worked 7 years for this woman that he loved, and this is how it works. If a father promised you his daughter, not his woman, his daughter, then she can't go be with anybody else, and he cannot give her to anybody else until this man fulfills what the father requires of him to do, or until this man is like, look, I don't want it no more, right? That's the only way that the father can give his daughter to anybody else. Once she's betrothed, right, which basically means y'all pretty much married. You're gonna have her, you just can't have her right now, or y'all aren't married yet, right? So she wasn't allowed to just go. Once you're betrothed, you're not allowed to just go be with another man, right, and go have fun until everything comes into suit. No, she was down at the crib, maybe chilling, eating the whatever, bro. They was probably eyeballing each other with lovey-dovey eyes every day while he working, right? That's how it was. But this man worked 7 years for her, and it says, and Jacob said unto Laban, give me my wife, for my days are fulfilled, that I may go in unto her. So just give y'all some background, not only did Laban promise him Rachel, but he promised them cattle and all types of other stuff, right? I think maybe a little bit of riches. Like, he promised them, look, once you work for me, you're gonna get all of this after these 7 years are done, including my why do I keep saying that? Including my daughter, right? And that man worked for that. He worked for that, right? And it says, and Jacob said unto Laban, give me my wife, for my days are fulfilled, that I may go in unto her. So he like, look, you promised me your daughter. Look, I've been waiting for 7 years for this. It's time for me to do the do. Like, I want her to be mine. You know what I'm saying? So it says, and Laban gathered together all the men of the place and made a feast, right? So this is a feast. This is a feast. This is a beautiful thing when families come together, right? And this was already for those of y'all who don't know, y'all might think this weird, but back in the days, how people expanded their tribe and made their tribe bigger is they married in the family, right? Yes, you were allowed to marry outside of the family, in certain cases with certain nations, right? Certain nations were prohibited, but anyways, they married inside of the family and inside of the tribes. No, not sisters and brothers and sons with mother. No, not like that. But cousins were allowed to marry and mingle, right? That was how the tribes and everything like that got big. That's how when you go to Africa, all these tribes and stuff are so big because they intermarry, right, in the family. And they did the same thing in the Bible because Jacob and Rachel and Leah are cousins. Laban is Jacob's uncle, right? He works 7 years for his cousin, pretty much, Rachel. Um, but anyways, it says, and Jacob said unto Laban, give my da da da. They made a feast, and it came to pass. This is verse 23. And it came to pass in the evening that he took Leah, his daughter, and brought her to him, and he went in unto her. And Laban gave unto his daughter Leah Zilpah, his maid, for a handmaid. So Laban pretty much waited till it got dark and brought his daughter into the marriage chamber with Jacob. Right? For those of y'all who don't know what the marriage chamber is, we'll get into what the marriage chamber is. That's pretty much, I got a verse in here somewhere on that, but that's pretty much where when after everything's accepted, everything's been gone through the dowry or whatever you had to do, there would be something called a marriage chamber where the husband and the wife would go into, right, and they would do the do. If she was she was a virgin, they would do the do, but the father would go in there and lay out a white sheet on the bed, right? And after this man, penetrates this woman, y'all know how that goes. She bleeds, and the blood will go onto this white sheet or whatever, and the father would keep that for proof that she was a virgin, because it was horrible back then, let's say, for a woman to lie and say she was a virgin and she wasn't. Because simply what I just explained to y'all, you don't have to pay no dowry and all that stuff for a woman that's not a virgin, right? You could just have that woman, right? But a woman that's a virgin, you gotta go through some hurdles to get that woman. So if a man does all this stuff and then he finds out you're not a virgin, all right, you lied to him, it's kind of like off with your head. You get stoned, you die. So that's what they did. So it was probably dark in there, and Laban brought Leah in there, which is Rachel's sister, instead of Rachel, right? And it being probably dark, right? This is just an insertion. It doesn't really explain to you how he didn't realize that it was Leah, but I would assume it was dark because it said it was evening, right? So he did the do with Leah, thinking it was Rachel, right? And it came to pass that in the morning, behold, it was Leah. And he said to Laban, what is this thou hast done unto me? Did I not serve with thee for Rachel? Wherefore then hast thou beguiled me? And Laban said, it must not be so done in our country to give the younger before the firstborn. Fulfill her week, and we will give thee this also for the service which thou shalt serve with me yet 7 other years. So he basically told him, look, you can work for me 7 more years, and then I'll give you Rachel. So Jacob just got finessed, right? So it says, and Jacob did so and fulfilled her week, and he gave him Rachel his daughter to wife also. So if y'all notice, Leah became Jacob's woman after he laid with her in that chamber, right? They probably had some words going, I'm gonna be yours, you're gonna be mine, etc., etc. They made some oaths, they made a covenant. She now belongs to him. She belongs to him, right? Same thing with Rachel. The same thing happened, and the same thing happened with the maids that they was given, right? Because for those of y'all who don't know, yes, polygyny is a thing, and it's completely lawful, and it makes sense. Men like multiple women, right? And y'all women can only get pregnant once every 9 months. So, we can just pop them out. So, there's something scientific. There's something to tell you right there. But anyways, we're not going to get into that. But yes, Jacob got all his women. Any man in the Bible that got his woman either bought her, which is the dowry of a virgin, right? Or he worked for her some way, somehow, right? So let's get First Samuel chapter 18. First Samuel, I'm tripping this up here. All right, First Samuel chapter 18, verse 25. And it reads, And Saul said, Thus shall ye say to David, the king desireth not any dowry, right? So this, for those of y'all who don't know, this is King David, right? Before he was King David. And Saul is the king right now. And David likes Saul's daughter. He's got something for her, he got him a little crush or whatever. And he wants her, but he don't have much money and stuff. And he knows that, you got to pay big bucks, especially to marry the king's daughter. You got to have some type of thing. So he was like, nah, I ain't got all this. I ain't got that. But David had hands, and David, he could, David could get down in war. You know what I'm saying? But he ain't have all the money like that. So Saul wanted David dead because David was becoming a mighty man. The Most High was raising him up to basically replace Saul. And Saul could see it, and he was starting to get hatred in his heart. So he like my daughter, right? All right. I know he broke, so I ain't gonna charge him no dowry. But you gotta go to war for me, and you gotta bring back 100 foreskins. For those of y'all who don't know, foreskin is the skin that's around a man's penis, right? No, it wasn't nothing homo. It's just when you look into the history of covenants with the Most High that he made with Abraham, that was passed down through Abraham's seed all the way down to Jacob, right, through Isaac. Being circumcised was seen as a holy thing, right? And the heathens round about the Israelites, they weren't circumcised, right? So being circumcised was a holy thing. To be uncircumcised meant to be unclean. So pretty much he's basically, they took it as like a strong and powerful thing to circumcise your enemies, right? To get them to follow the covenants, etc., etc. So Saul was basically like, look, bring me back 100 foreskins, right? In war, whatever, and then you can have my daughter. But he wanted him to get killed. So let's read it. So it says, wherefore David arose and went, he and his men, and slew. Oh wait, hold on. My bad. Starting at this First Samuel 18 and 25. And Saul said, Thus shall ye say to David, the king desireth not any dowry. So I don't need any dowry from him. I don't need no money, nothing. But 100 foreskins of the Philistines, to be avenged of the king's enemies. But Saul thought to make David fall by the hand of the Philistines. And when his servants told David these words, it pleased David well to be the king's son-in-law, and the days were not expired. Wherefore David arose and went, he and his men, and slew of the Philistines 200 men. And David brought their foreskins, and they gave them in full tale to the king, that he might be the king's son-in-law. And Saul gave him Michal, his daughter, to wife. Right? So Saul didn't have no choice after that. He had to give him his daughter. They told David, look, bring back 100. David said, nah, I'm gonna bring back 200. Right? So let's get Deuteronomy. So that's an example of the father pretty much giving you, look, you got to do this for my daughter, right? There's no such thing as you just having my daughter, right? This is mine. When y'all got to realize, women, y'all play a big role. Y'all always played a big role, especially in the household when y'all actually knew how to be women, right? Cooking, cleaning, right? Being a servant does not mean being a slave. Serving means serving it's not the same as slavery. Like slavery is like hard bondage, like you don't have no choice or we gonna beat you down type, like you don't own yourself. Servitude is more so willing to do what needs to be done in order to get things done, right? As far as your daughters and stuff go. Now your actual servants is kind of like paid, it's kind of like working, what we do today. If you have a job, you're a servant to that job, right? That's like the working servants. But as far as your daughter in the household or whatever, they brought life into the household too. So if you're taking my daughter from me, first off, you're taking money from my house, because my daughter, not to say that you have a price on your daughter, right? Because our daughters and us, we're priceless, but you're taking money out of my home, especially for the version of for the dowry of my daughter, right? You got to pay me, or you got to do something for my daughter, right? You're taking out a woman from my household that cooks and cleans, right? She may take care of her other brothers and sisters, right? You're taking work from out of my house, right? um so you got to pay for that. Now let's get Deuteronomy 22:13. Deuteronomy chapter 22, verse 13. And it reads, If any man take a wife and go in unto her and hate her, and give occasion of speech against her, and bring up an evil name upon her, and say, I took this woman, and when I came to her, I found her not a maid, then shall the father of the damsel and her mother take and bring forth the tokens of the damsel's virginity unto the elders of the city in the gate. Right? So remember when I was telling y'all about that chamber, right? That they have sex in and become one, they become married. This is an example. If that man is like, look, she lied to me, she ain't no virgin, da 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 da. The father and the mother, they bring, hold on. All right, so the father and the mother, they would bring those tokens of her virginity, which is that sheet with the blood on it, right? To show, nah, look, she was a virgin before you took her, right? And and it says, and lo, he had given occasion of speech against her, saying, I found not thy daughter a maid, and yet these are the tokens of my daughter's virginity, and they shall spread the cloth before the elders of the city, and the elders of that city shall take that man and chastise him. Pretty much saying, if that man was lying, right, this was a big thing, right? A woman being a virgin and lying about it was a huge thing, and a man lying on a woman was about not being a virgin was a big thing too. So man, if you was to lie on your woman and say, look, you're not no virgin, and people find out that she was, you would get your ass beat. You would get beat up. They would take you to the gates of the city, and the men of the city would beat you down, right? That's what you got when you lied on women back then, right? And she's still your woman after that. You can't put her away, right? And it says, and they shall immerse him in 100 shekels of silver and give them unto the father of the damsel, right? So after that, now you gotta pay because you lied on that woman, right? And it says, and she shall be his wife, he may not put her away all his days. Once you're married, you're not allowed to separate. Point blank, period. There's no such thing as divorce, right? And it says, but if this thing be true, and the tokens of virginity be not found for the damsel, so if she was lying, it says, then they shall bring out the damsel to the door of her father's house, and the men of her city shall stone her with stones that she die. So women, you get put to death if you lied about something like that. Man done went through maybe his life's earnings to buy you, right? Or to, to purchase you, to be with you, right? And not only that, it's a disgusting thing. This man might not have wanted no woman that's been around. He wanted a virgin, and you lied, right? You could have gave that man herpes or something. I'm pretty sure STDs I'm pretty sure they ain't mess around about that either, right? So yeah, women, you're dead, right? So let's get Ecclesiasticus 49:9. All right. This is Ecclesiasticus 49:9, not Ecclesiastes. Ecclesiasticus, also known as Sirach, which is one of the 15 to 16 books taken out of the Bible, right? I got my 1611 version Bible right here, King James. Within this was before the King James Version Bible. This was the first. So like, this was the first one, and within it, you could see the Apocrypha. Let me find it. Okay, this is the Apocrypha. The Apocrypha, right? This is a King James Version Bible, the first one. Okay, so Ecclesiasticus, or Sirach, which is a book of wisdom, 42, verses 9, right? And it reads, the father waketh for the daughter when no man knoweth, and the care for her taketh away sleep when she is young, lest she pass away the flower of her age, and being married, lest she should be hated, right? So fathers protected their daughters back then. There was no such thing as your daughter just roaming around smashing and being passed around, right? Fathers protected their daughters because they know that name that their daughters would get of being a harlot and a whore would bring shame to their households, bring shame to their daughter, bring shame to the men that was laying with her. Shame, shame, shame. So that wasn't a thing, right? He didn't want his daughter to be looked at like that. It says, in her virginity, lest she should be defiled and gotten with child in her father's house, right? It wasn't no such thing as you living in my house and you done got smashed up and now you pregnant and you want me to take care of it and da, right? The man that got with you was supposed to be able to do all that. You supposed to be going to live with this man. You are this man's flesh now, right? I do not own you anymore. Now, you're still my daughter, but you are now this man's possession. You belong to him, right? He's supposed to be doing all these things. And it says, and having a husband, lest she should misbehave herself, and when she is married, lest she should be barren, right? So keep a sure watch over a shameless daughter. So this is saying keep a watch over your daughters that are hot, right? And they don't have no care in the world. Y'all know what that's going into, because a lot of y'all watching this like that or was like that, right? So it says, lest she make thee a laughing stock to thine enemies, right? And a byword in the city and a reproach among the people, and make these ashamed before the multitude. Y'all brought shame to y'all house when y'all were harlots and hoes, right? That's why men looked after their daughters. That's why men were protective over their daughters, right? That's why you had to pay a price, but to get a man's daughter, to be able to show, look, I can provide for her. I could do this, I could do that, and I'm gonna take care of her, and I'm not gonna leave her, right? And you working for her shows, look, I really want your daughter, right? I done went through all of this. 9 times out of 10, if a man done worked 7 years, you're not saying you had to work 7 years. That's just what Jacob had to do. But if a man worked 7 years for a woman, you think he gonna put her away over a petty ass argument? You think this man is gonna just give up on that relationship that easy, and you think she gonna give up that easy if this man put in all this work? All right, no. That's why it's levels to this marriage stuff. That's why it wasn't supposed to be just so easy as 1, 2, 3. All right, so behold, not everybody's beauty and sit not in the midst of. All right, so look, let's get Deuteronomy. Did I already read that? I think I did. Let's get Deuteronomy 23 and 17. 23, verse 17. Right, and it reads, there shall be no whore of the daughters of Israel, nor sodomite of the sons of Israel. A sodomite is a gay man, right? That man likes to put it in the butt. That's what a sodomite is. That was a no-no. And especially in Israel, that was a no. You would die for something like that. But whores and hoes and y'all just running around, just smashing and sucking and passing and all of that stuff, right? That was off. It wasn't no such thing as that, right? Y'all was on lockdown. Not saying that y'all just wasn't allowed to, not saying y'all was slaves and y'all was just in bondage and but y'all wasn't allowed to just go around and just do that, right? A man had to come meet your father. Look, train up a child. Look, you supposed to train up a child, man. Check this out. Train a child as he should go, and when he is older, he will not depart from it. Hold up. Right, this is Proverbs chapter 22, verse 6. Train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it. It goes the same for a young woman. If you train her up to mentally know I'm worth something, right? I'm not talking about on no gold digger. Oh, you gotta have money to get me. Because first of all, let's be real. Every woman is not worth the same as every woman. Some of y'all are way more beautiful than others. Some of y'all put way more energy into taking care of your family than others. Some of y'all pay way more attention to detail when it comes to cleaning. Some of y'all are built up. Some of y'all are skinny and bony. Some of y'all have a great mentality. Some of y'all don't know how to control your mouth. Some of y'all do. Some of y'all are smart. Some of you aren't. Like, all of y'all are not the same. So let's not go into that, oh, you gotta have bank for me and yada yada. Because a father knew the worth of his daughter as well, right? So, train up a child, but when you raise up your daughter to know, look, a man cannot just lay with you. A man cannot just throw you around and smash and pass and treat you like however. You have to bring that man to me, right? First off, he got to even have the balls to be able to step to me and let me know that he wants you. And after that, he might have to pay a dowry for you. He might have to pay something for you because you are worth something, right? Not saying that I'm putting a price on you, but you are worth something, right? This man has to work for you, or he has to do something. Back then, women would be like, nah, I can't. Nah, you got to talk to my dad. I like you and all, but you got to prove that, that you really want to make something shake with me. You know what I'm saying? And man, y'all was raised up to be men and be strong and be like that. Be like David's, right? Hey, I ain't got no money, but I could work, or Jacob's, I could work. Or, hey, I could take care of something for you, like what you need. Not in wickedness, you know what I'm saying? But, this is stuff that, this how things went down back then. But yeah, man, that's how relationships supposed to work. Once you get with a man or a woman, ain't no such thing as putting away. Ain't no such thing as putting away. Ain't no such thing as she made me mad or her breath stink. Or, even if a man later on down the line, maybe he loses everything, right? He ain't got it like he used to. Ain't no such thing as losing him after that. Y'all supposed to be one, right? When you get with somebody, you're supposed to know this is who I want to spend the rest of my life with. And no matter what happens, you are bound to this person. You made an oath. This is between you and the Most High God, and the Most High God requires his oaths, right? Y'all are one flesh, right? So when y'all raise y'all kids up in the mentality of, once I get with somebody, once I lay with somebody, once I give my body to somebody, my mentality to somebody, right? My love and this work that I put in to a relationship, once you give that to somebody, you belong to them. Women, right? Men, same thing. There's no such thing as putting a woman away for another woman either, right? That's a sin, right? There's no such thing as that. Okay, so once you get a woman, you have to provide for her. You're supposed to be able to provide for her clothing. You're supposed to be able to provide for her food, right? All of that stuff. You're supposed to be able to do this, or you're supposed to be working to get to that, working and striving towards that, right? So with that, I want to give all praise to the Most High God. I hope y'all were edified through the Spirit of the Most High God, right? Which would be the Holy Spirit, the Ruach HaKodesh, right? We do so in the name of His only begotten Son, who the world so innately calls Jesus Christ, right? Nobody knows the name, but over here we call him Yahweh Shai or Yahweh Shoai, right? Some of y'all call him Yahuwah. Some of y'all call him whatever you call him. As long as you talking about the Son of God and nothing else, no BS, he know who you talking about. So I do that in his name, and I hope y'all were edified, and we gonna end it at that, man. Shalom, shalom, shalom.